A little clicker. Oh, we're up already. Hi, great to be here. It's been a while since I've been again involved in seeing Wi-Fi stuff go on, but I would never imagine, this is back in 1987, as an RF engineer working in a feasibility study for a project in NCR in a place called Nieuwegein, the Netherlands. Nieuwegein, the Netherlands. If you know Utrecht, it's close by. And what that seed would grow into. What I'm going to focus now on is the early days, what we call of products, of wireless LAN products. And WaveLAN was the first product we developed in the Netherlands. That was the first high-speed wireless LAN. And from, let's say, 87 to 2001, that time frame, I try to pick out key moments. It was challenging looking at that history. What are the key moments that occurred that set the directional path for the future and the standards in the industry? So I'll try to just take those key moments. NCR is a cash register company, and the team in the Netherlands was part of NCR. And throughout the presentation, you're going to hear different names: NCR, AT&T, Lucent, all the same team in the Netherlands due to acquisitions. AT&T acquiring NCR, spinning it out. That team staying in AT&T, spinning it out into Lucent. But we still stayed in the Netherlands doing what we loved most, trying to make a wireless LAN. Given the new FCC rules that were launched in 1985 by Michael Marcus, he was innovative in saying, hey, could we do something more with this junk band, which microwave ovens are in, and maybe some people could do stuff. Let's make spread spectrum rules that you have to do, so mitigate interference, and let's see what happens, innovation. So in Dayton, Ohio, headquarters of NCR, they said, our cash registers are dumb terminals. They're connected by a 1 megabit proprietary LAN, because then Ethernet wasn't yet totally out there. And they had to download everything in the morning in 20 seconds. So you needed a megabit. Could you do it wireless? Because it was expensive, Christmas sales, moving them all over the place. So I got the opportunity. I came to the Netherlands, boy from Brooklyn, goes to the Netherlands, works in Philips Labs, and then has opportunity for NCR saying, hey, come here, we need some analog design, and Bruce, you could do a feasibility study for wireless cash registers. So I came and I went. And I did it, and it is possible using the ISM bands. Made a prototype called WaveLAN prototype, showed that you could do 500 kilobits per second. The whole focus we had then in the prototype was, how do we get to 2 megabit, or at least? And we showed it's possible, but it wasn't clear yet. It's the antithesis of spread spectrum, which is you spread the spectrum as much as you can so they can't hear, you can't interfere, and say, no, I'm going to spread as least as I can to get the right data rate. So that's the way that feasibility looked. Beautiful, I love it. So we did a feasibility. We did a lot of propagation measurements indoor. I had professors doing that because people weren't paying much attention to indoor then. And we wanted to make a pre-standard product. But to make a product, we had to say, is it going to be okay? So I flew out to Washington, went to the FCC, talked to the engineers and said, what is this rule with processing gain? How much do I have to do? Could I do 10? They said, yeah, it's fine. So I said, wow, fantastic. Went back, told the engineers, let's do 10. Find a code that could do 10. So one of the engineers on a Syncline computer found a code. Bruce, I found a code that's 11 chips, has all the properties you need. For the technical guys out there, was APR to cross-correlation functions bounded by 1. Great, implement it. And he refound a code called the Barker code, which was a radar pulse code. So pre-standard WaveLAN came out. That's the way the product looked. It was a 950 megahertz band in the US, because that was the ISM band that was the cheapest to implement. We, at the same time, lobbied Europe to get 2.4, because 915 was GSM, enabled. That happened quicker than I ever thought, so then I had to actually make a 2.4 gigahertz product for Europe. And we had a SOAP on a rope product, which was, because the integration level then, and this product cost $1,500, right? For 2 megabit. Okay. Yeah, 91. Yeah, real money. Now we said, okay, we have the vertical, NCR is happy, cash registers, but the team in the Netherlands, I was running R&D, Case is running the business, Angela was doing business. We sat together, we acted like a rogue little team in this bigger company, right? We didn't pay attention to the mothership. So this is bigger than just LANs. We designed this thing as a plug and play. Actually, the WaveLAN product was like an Ethernet protocol. We spoofed it to not do carrier detect, but carrier avoid. And so you plug the card in, and it worked in the stack of all the other LANs. It was easy to deploy, easy to do. So we wanted to make a standard. To make a standard, said, how do you do that? Well, the way to do it, and Vic Hayes is in the team. He was like a standard specialist in our team. Later, he joined my engineering team. But Vic said, Bruce, you have to go to the 802 committee and find out if there's a working group that's doing a protocol that'll fit. Right? And if it does fit, then you use it. If it doesn't fit, then you can make your own. And Vic, who was a Robert's Rules of Order book is his Bible type guy, right? He went, okay, let's go. Flew out with him, went to 802.4L, which is a token bus protocol used by the industry because they believed that they had to have more deterministic and didn't take off because Ethernet started becoming faster and faster, and that worked. So they were looking for something to do. So I went there and said, let's see. Looked at 802.4L. That was not fit for purpose for wireless. You would lose a token, and then the recovering of the token would take more time than the communications. So that allowed us to say, let's see if we can make a standard. 802.3 Ethernet said, go away, guys, because we're going from 10 to 100 megabit, and this wireless LAN stuff is never going to happen. So we started 802.11. That's the first meeting. There I am on the left with a little more hair, a little bit. That's the social club. And we started 802.11. And the evangelical mode was no one knows what wireless is. A lot of know it in the industry, but in the research. So I was going to this symposia. This is the first 3G symposia in Virginia Tech. They're having CDMA battle wars, and they gave me a slot to talk about wireless LAN. So I just did the conclusion.
WaveLAN of NCR. The talk will be given by Bruce Tuch.
Thanks, Don, and I'd like to thank Ted for inviting me here. I'm having a good time. We need high-speed wireless LANs is clear. I mean, the need is there, and you put anything about our court, people are jumping to get it. And we have a great opportunity in ISM bands to solve these problems today. And remember, it's a catch-22 situation, not only for radio designers, so you don't get spectrum with the MCC, you can't make anything, but for application people, software. How many applications are going to be there when we get portable computers or whatever you have that are wireless? And now that we have a base for them to work on, there'll be applications out there. And we want to get an open system, and we want to get standard work done. And that'll be it then. Thank you.
So getting standard work done. So that's the next phase. Now we're in the standard mode. In the standard, the first one, the physical layer was pretty much the WaveLAN direct sequence 11-chip barcode I talk with. That wasn't too contentious. People picked up on it. Parallel, people want to do frequency hopping. Instead of debating it, we said, okay, make that an option. People want to do that because they thought it would be easier to implement. People are nervous. How do I make a product if I have to make an ASIC and a decorrelator? I just like to have a VCO and switch it and change the frequencies. So I said, okay, let that happen. I didn't think hopping would take off because it didn't have a roadmap to higher speeds due to the regulations. So the real discussion now in the standard was the MAC protocol. And we were on the right hand of the camp, which is a client-focused protocol. Not centralized, but client-focused. A democracy network, carrier sense multiple access. The left, while it wasn't the cellular industry, it was the approach of the cellular industry, was much more centralized scheduling, an access point to be centralized scheduling and polling. The reason the right hand is what the bandwidth, where we came from, is not only because the WaveLAN was that, but we really thought this is a better way to go, especially one. We have unlicensed band. At that time, 3 channels, somewhat overlapping, not controlled. You don't know who access points are going to own what. You have to have easy coordination between them. You have to make this thing that it's, you install this and you don't need a very complicated way to organize access points, all that. And to do that autonomously was a complicated technical challenge. So the Jeans and Samuel guys, the Cowboys, won. This became the protocol that was adopted. Carrier sends multiple access. And also is walk before we run. I was pushing data and all that quality of service stuff. That'll come later, right? You can't do that when you have 3 channels not overlapping, interfering, right? And there were a bunch of people, no, but we got to put quality service in. And da, 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 da. Sure, next time. So we got to get product out, and the market is just starting. And if people have to make a phone call, pick up your deck phone, right? So milestone then, 802 was ratified, 2 megabit. We had a little more integration now. It's not soap on a rope. And you could buy an IEEE certified 2 megabit product in 1997. Market still didn't really take off. And what we needed is a higher speed, because what was happening is Home RF came out outside 802.11. There was another group saying, I want to do quality of service and I want to do this. And it wasn't an open standard. So there's a risk here that you get a fragmented market with other players, not interoperable, right? So what do? We got to get to 10 megabit at least, because that's really what a LAN is. Ethernet was 10 megabit. So we got together, started the 10 megabit standard. It was somewhat contentious. We had our own technology we were proposing that did 10 megabit. A company called Harris Lucent had their own technology. We both had products, legacy products at 2 megabits, so we had an interest for compatibility and backward compatibility, but we were clashing. So at these battles of standards, we're clashing. Nothing's happening. Other groups are coming with their own proposals. And then we realized, looking at it, saying, this is not good. Home RF is just looking at us and saying, great, 802.11 is in turmoil. We got offline, decided to work together. Engineers huddled, and we both said, we're going to make something that works, and we both have to make a new chip for it. That's what happened. And we came out with a standard called CCK 11 megabit. And I must say, the compromise together, which usually doesn't happen in standards, was a better solution than any one of the other ones. So now we have 11 megabit. So now all the Home RF guys are saying, well, yeah, it's 11 megabit, and we're only 1 megabit, and we're going to become 10, but that's too expensive. You're never going to be selling. So what happens? Apple Airport. When Apple Airport happened, I got a call from someone I know called Dick Allen from previous life. He goes, Bruce, are you still doing 802.11 chips? Is it your own chips? You own the technology? Yes. You could get the costs down? Yes. Thank you. Click. And then Jobs calls the CEO of AT&T, goes, I want you to help my team in the Netherlands. I want you to help your team in the Netherlands, my team, to have iBook integrate with wireless LAN. Can you help? CEO of AT&T said, what the, who's this guy? We have a team in the Netherlands? What is wireless LAN anyway? Right? Don't know. So that caused a fly out to California, where Case, who ran the business, and the CEO of AT&T flew out, had no clue what was going on, sits in a room, they have a talk, Jobs doesn't come in to the last minute, they have a presentation ready, don't want to listen, AT&T's trying to sell him other things, doesn't want to listen, says, are you going to help my team? $50. Give you an idea, my BOM was $450, right? $50. But I had a roadmap for integration to get to 50. So they nodded, yeah. Okay, he left. That was it. The deal's done. We designed the airport. We made a business decision that with the integration we had, and again, there were no chip vendors out there except one, Harris, but we had our own chips. That's why we could do the cost. The chip, what in there, the BOM was around 50. We sold it at 50. So we decided to enable the market, selling at cost to enable the market. That was the right decision for us and them. Lucent Mothership did not like that decision, but that's the way things go in big corporate, right? They had no, Lucent was a CDMA, all this LAN stuff. Anyway, and I'll let Steve talk.
wireless, airport wireless networking. It's the wireless LAN. It runs at 11 megabits per second. Based on industry standards, this is 802.11 wireless networking. We've worked with Lucent on this for the last 18 months. Technology, we want ease of use technology, and bring the quality of this down for people because this stuff has been pretty pricey to date.
So they launched $99, Proxim, well, Home RF, all that, had the shock of their life, right? You can do it at the right cost. It's all sand and silicon, right? What does it really cost once you do it? Anecdote on, just a small anecdote on working with Apple, great company to work with. This is a milestone and a changer because Apple at that time was a 10% market share PC vendor. There were no phones out there. Their model in the market was, I have 10% market share, I have a fanatic base, but the vision there was, how do I get the wireless out there? Well, I got to have a standard. I can't do an Apple closed system if I want to walk with my iBook into the Starbucks, right? So that's why this decision to say we're going to support open standards to enable that market happened because of that. Whether it would happen today, I don't know, but it happened then. Anecdote there is I get a call from the kid, it doesn't work, that saucer-shaped access point. The range is 0, Bruce. What do you mean? Turns out that they painted it with silver metallic paint. They made it a Faraday cage saucer. I go, hey, Dick, that's not going to work out. He goes, yeah. Well, I can't tell Steve. What do you mean? He has a reality distortion field around him. He's going to say change the laws of physics. So eventually they went back, and Ives, who designed it, the team found the plastic pellets that look silver, and they solved the problem. You know, I have a lot more anecdotes working with Apple. So what happened after that? Apple happens. Intel pulls out of Home RF. Home RF is dead. Intel Centrino Wi-Fi happens, right? This market's starting to take off. Windows XP goes native with Wi-Fi. Story there was one of my developers called, said, Bruce, these Microsoft guys are calling me. They are interested. I flew out to Seattle, talked to Jawad Kake, who was in charge of the Windows XP networking launch. And we decided, let's go native. So the engineer in our team sat a year in Seattle, took our drivers, put into Windows XP the thing that when it pops up, it shows the access points and all that stuff. It was in the Windows XP system. He flew back to the Netherlands. Everyone's happy. And all they had to say is, for the PC OEMs, we used the Lucent card, right? I know the future, you know, this was also 802.11n, a lot of leverage from great work from Bell Labs, but a lot of other companies, there was some contention there because the market's taking off, so which end is going to happen? But 802.11 happened, which is mind-boggling technology, right? That you could get these data rates with less bandwidth by using multipath reflection, especially in a scattering environment like this one, it's actually ideal. And that took off. And to end the story, if we go from the Wi-Fi Alliance, so I forgot to mention, the Alliance happened just about the same time that the Apple launch happened. And that was key milestone also. The Wi-Fi Alliance, interoperability. There's a book from Greg Ennis, you can read it, gives a lot of good history of all this. Okay, and now he's pushing me off the stage by saying, it's been a journey that if I knew how difficult it would have been, I would have been nervous to start, but I'm glad due to childlike naivete, we started anyway. And I really had a great ball working with competitors and industry colleagues to make it all happen. Thank you.
It's a good thing that you do. Yeah, bravo. Thank you so much.
Wi-Fi now, just connect.